All right, I am jumping on here to record an impromptu podcast episode. So if this has come up randomly on your feed, it is Jin Ong here from The Art of Listening to Your Body. Now, I have been putting off recording this episode for a few weeks, and when you start to listen to it, you might think, oh my gosh, Jin, why have you left this so long? Because it is about the Veil Bali Retreat that begins in 3 weeks. And I have one space left for one special woman. Now, why is it that I have been putting this off for so many weeks? I am someone who deeply trusts in the timing, and whenever I put anything out there, including this retreat, I need to make sure that my energy is there. So, in today's episode, I'm going to be sharing with you three things about this last spot on the Veil Bali Retreat starting in May. I'm also going to share a little bit of the details around this retreat. Most of you would only know about this retreat if you actually reached out to me. And to be honest, there isn't actually a lot of information. There is just enough for you to be able to feel into it and say yes to. And then, thirdly, I'm going to share with you the energy and the story behind the creation of the Veil Retreat in Bali, because I love to know the energy and the story behind what I'm choosing to invest my time, my money, and my intention into. So, 3 weeks out, you could be in Ubud, in Bali, with me. And this probably means that 3 weeks out, you're someone who has created a life work where you have flexibility and freedom, where you can choose to desire first and organize the details later. And I really trust that there is just this one last person ready to fill this spot. And I'm so curious to meet who you might be. All right, so what is a little bit about this retreat? And actually, first of all, why is it that you probably haven't heard very much about it? I've only been sharing this on my personal Facebook page, and there is one post on my Instagram, and I've occasionally been sharing it in my stories. However, there is only one spot left. Now, most people know me for working in the world of pain with people with chronic and complex health issues, and that I help people process their emotions, truly come to peace with their past and their experience, and to be able to decipher the message from this experience so that they can actually move forwards. And as I've been in this work for well over a decade now, what's been amazing is that I've seen the clients who have deeply trusted this process to work with their emotions on a deeper level, is that they have uncovered a true and more authentic version of themselves that they desire to step into. And in that transition, they have stepped into the world of pleasure and manifestation, manifestation of the things that they desire to create in their life. And so my work tends to be split into these two phases. The first phase of discomfort, I call it, is the emotional processing. It's the work that most people avoid. And then there is this transition into the second phase of discomfort, which is this realization of the life that you're here to live, the vision, the manifestation, the desire piece, and the identity that you've got to step into. And that can be a little bit unknown. And that's the space that I love to coach in. So I never knew that my work was going to take me from pain into pleasure on a personal level, nor with my clients. It was just a natural evolution, which is why it's so beautiful. And you may have heard me say, because I do talk about manifestation in certain places, but not very much, is that I've found it a little bit challenging to work on manifestation with people unless they have a solid foundation in emotional work. Because I say that when you take steps in alignment with the future version of yourself into this life that you desire, anyone who's walked this path with me will know that it is about holding both the expansion and the celebration of the amazing things that you create and attract in your life, but also holding massive challenge at the same time. And why I want to work with people in the manifestation space who have got a solid foundation in emotional work is that they are able to hold both, as opposed to a challenge comes up that distracts them, that takes them away from their vision, and all they can do is focus on that challenge. And it takes a particular type of person. So, this retreat, the Veil Retreat that's going to be in Bali, I have actually opened it up to people who haven't worked with me before. But that does mean that I'm asking you to share with me who you are. Why does this retreat speak to you? And you don't even know anything about it just yet. Why is this retreat speaking to you? And what is the foundation you have in emotional work? What challenges have you overcome? Because now I'm going to get into a little bit more about who this retreat is for. It is a women's only retreat. I have had men ask me if they can take part. I'm like, sorry, guys, I do work with guys, but this is the only time that I have created something that is exclusively for women. It's a women's only retreat, and it is very much focused on the vision, desire, and the manifestation piece. It is about the identity that you are here to step into. It is about the reclamation and the declaration of this. And you are going to be surrounded by women who have already called success into their life. And this isn't a particular area in their life, it's in many facets of their life. So, for example, as I think of the women who are already a yes to this retreat, they have achieved health success, sometimes like unbelievable stories. There are some who have let go of relationships and attracted new ones into their life, whether they be the intimate or the friendships. And if you've moved through this, you know that that's not an easy feat to move through. Some have created incredible businesses that allows them the freedom to say yes to themselves, to come on a retreat like this, to nurture themselves on a deeper level. Some have sold their businesses for crazy amounts and transitioned into new ventures. And for many of them, they have attracted magic money, money that is the byproduct of who they are and who they are becoming. And so that just gives you a little bit of an idea of who you're surrounded by. And why I'm so particular about, I guess, screening people when they're interested in this retreat is that the clients that I work with in groups in the online space, and even those that I've worked with privately in person, they trust me to create amazing spaces with amazing people that truly feel aligned, that can feed one another. And so it means that if you're interested in this retreat, I want you to play with the feeling. I really want you to be drawn in by a feeling first and foremost, and go on the journey of I'm someone who is aligned to participate in something like this. Now, my work on all levels can result in a few triggers and projections out there. And so I do trust that even if you're not going to be the woman that says yes to the Veil retreat coming up soon, is that this podcast is still going to be valuable for you because you might go, oh my gosh, there's no way I would say yes to something like this without information. But at the same time, and that's okay if you are, at the same time, I want you to be curious, who are these people who say yes with not very much information about the retreat? So over time, because it was actually May in 2025 when I came up with the idea of running this retreat, over time, there have been more details. But you know what? Even the women who have said yes, they still don't know exactly what is happening on this retreat, but they get an idea of the feeling of what is being curated. They only know where they need to be, what dates, and that everything is handled for the days that they are on retreat. And they actually love that they don't know all of the information. But here is what I have shared with people over the last handful of months, that this retreat is for a woman who has got a solid foundation in emotional work because we are stepping into the world of vision, desire, manifestation, the identity work, the reclamation and the declaration of it, to be surrounded by success in the room and know that you belong and know that you can contribute to that energy. And so you've got a solid foundation in emotional work. And that doesn't mean you have to have worked with me, but I want to know what level of work you've done. Have you worked in groups before? Can you hold the energy of this space? Because success energy is actually big energy. And I would argue it's bigger than the challenges that you may have moved through in life. It is for women who really value space and time. This is more a retreat led from the feminine energy. which is space, nurturing, and nourishment. So that means that you value taking time and space to yourself, making yourself a priority. You have seen the evidence of what you can create in that space. It's also recognizing that sometimes you need to take yourself out of your normal environment, your house, your home, where you can be easily distracted with little chores and jobs, remove yourself from your work for a little bit, and even your responsibilities as maybe a parent with family. And so you've got the support around you. You have no shame to ask for support, to be able to choose yourself and immerse yourself in luxury. It is absolutely luxurious, the place that I have selected, which is going to be ours exclusively for the full period of the retreat. I'm going to share a bit more about that in the story and the energy behind the creation. So, you're a woman that really values time and space and taking that for yourself, especially when it comes to creating your vision. Because you're probably someone who's created success in your life, you don't feel guilty that you want more. Okay. It's not that you're greedy, it's more that you know what you're capable of creating when you give yourself that time and space. So I also shared that in the feminine space, it's about the nurturing and nourishment. So we're going to have a private chef, and of course, there's going to be amazing food to nurture your bellies and nourish your bellies as you are creating this vision for the future that you desire to step into. There are going to be nurturing experiences that I have organized that you'll be able to immerse yourself into. Again, it's not fully revealed, but the women who have said yes trust that I love for you to immerse yourself in experiences that help you feel loved, happy, free, and that anything is possible. What else? I have got some amazing guest speakers organized that is all in alignment with vision, manifestation, and the desire space. Incredible people. And some of you have said, "Oh, I love the look of your Bali retreat, but I'll do the next one." I cannot guarantee that the next one is going to be the same, that I'm going to organize the same people, because what I create is based on where I'm at in my life as well. And I'm just continuing to evolve too. So, this retreat, the Veil that's coming up in May 2026, is going to be unique in itself. Now, you might be thinking, just give me the dates, give me the information. I really attract people off a feeling. So I want you to take your time to be able to sit in and just check in if this is something that you desire. Desire first, details later. Okay, so we've got space, time, nurturing, nourishment. I am going to be facilitating a handful of special workshops in alignment with vision, desires, and manifestation and the identity work. And I'm so looking forward to doing this in person. And you're going to have plenty of space and time for your creative ideas to land, that right next action step that gets to come from a deeper place of desire and intuition. So, this is a women's only retreat. There is one space left, and it is 7 full days of immersion. And so you will arrive May 18th, the afternoon of May 18th. We're going to have a beautiful dinner to connect and settle in at the beautiful, luxurious location. I'll reveal that later. And then we're going to have 7 full days of immersion. And you also get to stay the night the retreat finishes, and we all leave on the morning of the 26th of May. So you need to be in Bali the afternoon of 18th of May and leave or go somewhere else in Bali if you want to visit and immerse yourself in the culture. You'll be leaving on the 26th of May. So it is a slightly longer retreat, but we have 7 full days of immersion in feminine space, in luxury, nurturing, and nourishment. And I can't wait to see who this last person is. I can't wait to come together with the women who have already said yes. So feel into this. Is this the energy that you want to play into? And especially if I haven't worked with you before, but even if I have, the way you say yes to this retreat is you reach out to me. Social media is the best place, my personal Facebook or my Instagram, because I love to voice message you back. I find it very difficult to communicate my energy in written form. Now, if you're not on those platforms, that's okay, which is why I decided to do this podcast episode. you can email me and I will find a way to voice message you back, but it's just a little bit more convenient on my social media. I'll put the links in the podcast notes. And you can either write to me or you can send me a voice message. It can be 5 minutes, it can be 10 minutes. I just want to know, why is this retreat speaking to you? And what foundation or what emotional work have you moved through? What challenges have you moved through? And are you ready to be in a room with successful women and choose to belong and know that this is going to amplify your next step in life? That you are wanting to create this vision, you're wanting to manifest a life that you absolutely desire, and this is speaking to you on a deeper level. So reach out to me first, and then I'm going to share a little bit more, or let me know that you listen to this podcast, and then I don't need to share anymore. We'll have a few back and forth messages. If we need to jump on a call, then we can, but there have actually been women who have joined this just purely off voice messages. Most of them I do know, so I do know that they're the right fit. And one thing I say is that this is not the retreat where you lead by price. We can exchange that very quickly, but I want you to play in the energy of, this retreat feels like it's calling me. I want to play in the space of, I'm going to this retreat. And I totally understand if the investment is not something that you're ready to invest into, that's fine, but allow yourself to play in this energy. I know that it's going to help you manifest in other areas of your life, even if you're not going to come onto this retreat. Okay. So again, some people are like, oh my gosh, how are you selling this retreat if you're not sharing the price? Well, you will not find it anywhere. It's only if maybe we have exchanged voice messages and decided that you're the right fit, then I share it with you, and then you sit with whatever feelings come up. So 3 weeks out, it probably is going to speak to someone who has got the freedom and flexibility to pick up, pack up, fly out, and be in Bali. And for some of you, you're going to realize at first you say no, but actually recognize that you do have the choice. But all you've got to do is ask for support. And so that's something in my world I love people to play with, is that the magic starts to land before you even say yes. It's just in the contemplation, it's in that idea space. So 3 weeks, one space, women only, vision, manifestation, desire, identity, reclamation, and declaration. A powerful group of women to come together to amplify whatever it is, whatever magic you are going to create in your life. If this is for you, then reach out to me, email me back. Preference is social media, Facebook, Instagram. Let me know a little bit about yourself, why this retreat is speaking to you, what foundation of emotional work you have, what challenges you've moved through, and we will go from there. Because we're only a few weeks out, you will need to pay in full, but we will organize that all on our chat with one another. Okay, what else am I thinking here? All you got to do is get yourself to Bali. Okay, you just got to organize your flights, and then everything else is handled. We'll pick you up from the airport or your accommodation close by, and we're going to take you to this beautiful location. I'm going to lead into the story and the energy behind the creation of this retreat in a minute. But I'm so looking forward to it. I've got my flights booked, and I know that for me, travel was something big for me for a long time. And then when the pandemic hit, I hadn't traveled for ages. And I really only got back into it in 2024. And I had a big trip to Canada for a month in 2025. And honestly, my mind just went to, oh, I don't know if I can do this. How's my business going to work? Blah, blah, blah. But I know that as a result of leading with desire, details later, everything falls into place. And so I managed to go away. I managed to recreate my work around living a life that I desire, to travel and immerse myself in experiences that allowed me to feel loved, happy, free, and that anything is possible. And it led to the next evolution of me. And so, with this Bali retreat, I'm not only just coming to facilitate the retreat, I'm taking time out for myself beforehand. I'm taking a couple of weeks out with family and friends who are coming over after the retreat. And I just trust and I know that if I allow myself that space, if I allow myself that relaxation time, that calm time, that the most magical ideas are going to land for me. So if you're wondering how work is going to work, you're going to work it out, especially if you allow yourself to lead from intuition and desire. Okay, so one space left. All right, let me tell you a little bit about the story and the magic behind this retreat because, as I said, I love to know the story and the energy behind what's been created before I invest my money, my time, and my intention. And particularly if you're new to my world or we haven't worked together for a long time, I feel like something that I've been really proud of with how I've navigated the online space, the art of listening to your body, is that strategy is a very small part of what I do, and energy and energetics is a huge part of it. I've trusted my intuition for a very long time. Sometimes I've questioned it, but I trust it more and more. And so anything that I put out there, it isn't because someone wants it or someone complains about something. It's because it's really come from a deeper place within. And that's how I've seen things move so fast in my world and attract amazing people, is because it's come from a deeper place of desire. And so, for example, retreats. I've had friends run retreats, quite successful retreats, and I've thought that would be really cool. And I just found myself trying to work it out or ask the question, how? Like, how do you run a retreat? How do you run a retreat overseas? Now, I went from working in person in the clinic as an osteopath to working online, thinking I'd never work in person with people again. We moved to this amazing property, which you can see if you're watching this on YouTube, the light is going behind me. Moved to this amazing property and I started running retreats on our land with our horses. Um, and I was just like, I just feel this draw, I've got to do it. And when it came to running group retreats overseas, I was like, how? How do my friends do it? I was asking them questions. But very quickly now, I catch myself when I'm in that logical mind, in the masculine mode, trying to work things out. And I go, Jin, stop. You need to pull yourself out of this. This is not the energy that you create from. So for a good couple of years, I'm like, when's a retreat going to land? It would be really cool. And so I've gotten in touch with my astrologer saying, Ashish, do you think I should be running at retreats? Blah, blah, blah. And just trying to look for external validation. Now, this is how this retreat came about. In 2025, I wrote my first book called Healing Beyond the Diagnosis. And it was May 1st that I released the first edition. And it was such an amazing creative project that was born out of challenge, by the way. And I created a luxe limited edition. I only printed and created and sold 222 copies. It was beautiful. It was green. It was linen. It was debossed. It had gold. It had gold leafing, colored pages, thicker paper. And it was just special. Okay. It was really unique. And I started selling them before I'd even received the sample. I realized that I hadn't even told people that I was writing a book. And I decided to sell this book before any details were revealed. And to my surprise, so many people bought it. Now, I released magic numbers like angel numbers, power numbers, 11, 22, 111, 222. And then people started requesting numbers that were just special to them. And I was like, this is crazy. I don't even know what the book's going to look like. And that's when it landed for me. I realized, wow, this is selling from energy, not from strategy. This is desire. This is the trust space. And it was such an amazing confirmation for me to see how many people actually trusted that this book was going to be good, that it was going to be beautiful, that it was going to be worth it because the investment didn't make sense. The Lux edition was not your standard book price. And I didn't have all the details. I just knew that I wanted this book and this version, this luxe edition of the book out there. And it was just a magical experience. So 1st of May, I launched it with an online launch party. And then the paperback came and the launch date was set for the 22nd of May. And before a launch, if you've ever been through it, sometimes there's a lot of stuff to organize. Sometimes I question if that amount of work was actually required. But my friend Sam, who owns a horse trekking company, she gives her horses a break for a couple of months across May, June, July. And she sends them off into the wild on this massive farm station that she runs a trekking business. And she said to me, "Do you want to come and help me take the horses back out into the wild on May 19th?" And I was like, "Oh, I've got this paperback launch coming. I really shouldn't, but I love horses. I've got my own horses. I love to ride them. But should I? Because I really should be prepping for this launch." But actually, for the paperback launch of Healing Beyond the Diagnosis, my husband was interviewing me. Actually, he interviewed me in this exact location because sometimes I move my desk around the dome. And it was amazing because I was like, well, actually, I don't know what he's going to ask me. I'm quite good if people are just having off the cuff, raw, unfiltered conversation. I'm just going to trust that he's going to lead this launch party well and ask me the right questions. So actually, in reality, I didn't have anything to organize. I didn't have any work to do. I just had to hand over my trust to Gav. And that was an experience in itself. So I said to my friend, okay, I'm going to come horse riding. Now, May 19th is my mum's birthday. And I trust that whenever I go out and spend time with horses, that amazing things land in my life. I've got to be careful that I don't do it from the intention or the expectation that I spend time with my horses and something good's going to land. But it's been a pretty good track record. Okay. So it was a cool experience riding a horse, leading a couple of horses, having a couple free. I think that she had 11 or 13 at the time that we were taking back out, and there's three of us riding. And it was the whole day. It was a really cool experience. And when I got home, probably on the drive home, 40, 50 minutes home, it's like, I'm going to run a retreat in Bali. And it's going to be a group retreat. And for a long time, I've known a friend, her name's Mel, for over a decade, and she helps people organize their retreats in Bali. And I've been watching her stuff, been in touch with her every now and then saying, Mel, I know I'm going to run a retreat one day, but just not yet, but I know I'm going to reach out to you. And usually you'd have to book an appointment with her. But I came home and I was like, oh my gosh, I just like, I'm going to run this retreat. The idea was so tangible to me. And this is what I've learned about myself is that when the energy is there, when the idea is there, run with it. So I messaged Mel and I said, Mel, I want to run a retreat in Bali. And I think people in my life know that if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. So either you're on board or you're not. I said, can we talk tonight? Like in a couple of hours. Please don't make me book an appointment and wait till next week because the idea is going to be lost or I'm going to find someone else. And she said, sure. So we jumped on a video call. I rambled it off and I was like, but I need help. Okay. I've been to Ubud, I've been to Bali before. I love it, but I've never had retreats on my radar. So I don't know how to organize this. And I really value support in my life. With anything new, I value support. You just achieve it so much faster. She's just been incredible to help reassure me with everything. And so, what was interesting is May 19th, I do this take the horses out to the wild, my friend's horses. I decided I'm going to run this retreat. The next day, I think I jumped on my Instagram and I recorded a story saying, so I'm running a retreat in Bali. I think the dates are going to be around May. Who's on board? Absolutely no details. I didn't even have a location booked yet. I knew that it was probably going to be in Ubud, that it was going to be in Bali. I knew it was going to be around May. I spoke to my astrologer, or I messaged him. I said, Ashish, I think I want to run a retreat in Bali around May. What are your thoughts? So I usually lead from my desire, my intuitive hits, and then I get confirmation like, is this good timing? And he said, yes, Jen, this is great timing. Gemini is going to be in your chart in May 2026. You've got luxury in your chart, which I've always known. And you're meant to be leading groups around this time. Now, I've led groups online for sure. I've led teams before when I used to own a clinic. But I was like, oh, this is cool. This is on the radar. And I trust Ashish, my astrologist, so deeply. And yeah, so then I put the story out on Instagram and I had about 4 or 5 women at that time say, I want to come to your retreat. I'm in. And I had this moment of like, they don't even know the details. They can't really be in. So I was messaging them. I'm like, so this is what the retreat's going to be about, but I just know I'm going to run it. Now, granted, all of these women knew me and they had worked with me at some level before, some of them for a couple of years, some of them just for a period of weeks. And they were in. They were actually in. They paid the deposit and they didn't even know where I was running it. They just trusted me that I was going to create an amazing experience. And again, that's what I love. My clients see that I hold really loving and compassionate boundaries, but I know who my spaces attract. I want you to have an amazing experience, which means I might say no to you, and you've got to be okay with that. And maybe this and applying for the retreat is going to highlight that starting in my work of my emotional work, starting in my world of emotional work is maybe a better place for you so that you can really amplify and step into the world of vision, desire, and manifestation. So I was like, holy cow, this is like the book experience where there's no details, it's just desire. And I always thought it was this elusive thing of like your energy versus strategy, but now I was getting to create my own evidence for this. It was pretty magical. Anyway, so it was really interesting just the timing of it because I went on this horse ride May 19th. It's my mum's birthday. I launched my Lux edition of my book on May 1st, which is my sister's birthday. And then the dates so happened to work out that I am running this retreat 1 year later from its inception, May 19th. May 19th to the 25th, but remember you get accommodation the night before and the night after. So it's actually May 18th to the 26th. So this is part of my learning process of running retreats is that actually you've got to arrive the afternoon of and leave the morning of, but I wanted 7 days full immersion, so I just chucked accommodation included on either end. So there's lots of bonuses with this retreat. What else? Okay, so when it came to choosing the location, I go off feeling. I don't worry about the money, the expenses, or anything like that. This is the experience I want to create. So I shared with Mel what this retreat was about and what I wanted them to feel and experience, and luxury definitely was one of them. And she found me a few locations. I sussed them out. And there was one she said, I think you're really going to love this. It feels very aligned. And I looked at it, looked at the picture, I judged the book by the cover, and said, no way. It was too modern. It didn't look Balinese enough. And then she said, no, I really think you should consider this one. And this is what I loved about Mel is that she's more in alignment with creating for the energy. She said, based on what you've told me, this is the place. You have got to meet the owner. I was like, okay. Now, I was traveling in Canada at the time, by the way. And I organized a call with Anima, the owner of this beautiful place, which I'll reveal the name in a minute. And as soon as I spoke to her and she told me the story about how she acquired this venue and her mission and her vision, I was like, oh my gosh, Mel was right. I have to run this retreat at this location. However, it meant that I had to go all in, that I had to know that I was going to attract the right women because it is a location that you book out exclusively. You are not sharing with other people. And there is land, amazing land, which Anima is going to share with us about. There is amazing land and walks that you can access around this property. And I just feel the intention and energy around its creation is amazing. And so, yeah, I had to book out the whole location, not knowing if I was even going to attract a certain number of women. But again, this is where I just trust. It wasn't strategized out of how much is this going to cost? Where can I save money? Where can I make profit? It's just a trust that this is going to be an amazing experience and that it's going to lead to more amazing experiences in the future. And so the location is Dwashandra. But you know what? 5 women booked before they even knew that this was where we were going. Dwashandra is absolutely incredible. It's owned by the amazing Anima. And I said, Anima, on that first night when we have dinner, when everyone's arriving and settling in on May 18th, can you please come and meet the group and share the story so they just know the place, the energy, and the intention behind where they are staying? Um, and yeah, so we're going to meet Anima on May 18th. And then we're going to kick off for an incredible 7 days. Um, Gosh, I can't even remember if I shared with you guys earlier about. No, I did. It's like, gosh, did I actually share any information? I did say nurturing, nourishment, there's going to be experiences, there's going to be some facilitated workshops. And again, I didn't even have all of this planned to be able to share with the wonderful women that led from a yes, led from a place of desire. They just trusted. And as the group has come together, the experiences that have been curated have been adjusted a little. And so I'm actually grateful that I chose not to reveal what was happening and just trusting that everything's going to come together for this amazing group. They are in the space where they trust whatever happens is meant for me. So, this is the energy behind the Veil Bali Retreat. You arrive on the afternoon of the 18th of May and you leave on the morning of the 26th of May. 7 days full immersion in feminine space, luxury, nurturing, and nourishment to step into the future vision that you have for yourself, the identity that you know you've got to step into and create it with an incredible, incredible group of women. There is one spot left. And I trust that 3 weeks out, that this is going to speak to someone that I'm going to be graced by your presence in 3 weeks. So if you made it through to this, thank you so much for listening. Every now and then I drop in about the manifestation piece, but a lot of the time it's only if you've worked with me that you hear more of these manifestation stories. I would love for you to just tune in as to whether or not this is something that you can say yes to now. Even if you want to play in the frequency of saying yes to and just noticing the sensations, emotions, and feelings that come up. It's going to help you. It's going to help you regardless. So I want you to reach out to me, preferably on my social media, Facebook or Instagram. I'll pop the link in the show notes so that I can voice message you back. Okay. So that you can feel into it on a deeper level. Very quickly, we can get into the investment. I want to know what country you're in because you can pay in your own currency as well. And let's see where this goes. Putting it out there, not knowing if there will be one more woman that joins me or not. But I'm so excited. I'm so excited to step into this unknown experience and see what comes to fruition. I do have a second book on the cards, and I thought I was going to create it this year, but I decided to put it on hold until at least next year because I thought there's going to be some magical stories to share after this retreat. Because the next book is about vision, desire, manifestation, desire first, details later. So just check in if you're going, next time's going to be different. Okay. Play with this. I love sharing in this energy and I cannot wait to hear from you. Big love to you and I hope to see you in Bali.